Hello ladies and gentlemen, Top Pack Gaming Man here. I am still down under here in Australia and I am once again joined by Spacies.
G'day invaders, how are you guys?
Today I am going to be talking with him about his dark past as a gaming journalist. Yes, us YouTubers, we don't normally have nice things to say about gaming journalists for some reason. Don't ask me why, but
okay,
we like picking on them. Like, yes, actually, I want to ask some questions straight away about gaming journalism before we get to your past. Okay. IGN, for example, I find it really frustrating how them, along with all the other online reviewers, they give everything 10 out of 10, and they won't give anything like below a 7 out of 10. So if it's crap, they give it 7 out of 10, which is 70%, which would be a first if you was a university student.
I was kind of guilty, but I did rip into the odd one or two games, but we'll talk more about that in a moment. But no, I was a big Sega fan, and I happened to work in a Sega magazine, so yeah, I was kind of biased, I guess.
Oh.
Just
so yes, here we are. We've got it here, an exclusive. Game reviewers are biased, just from the horse's mouth.
Just a tad. But I was just enjoying the games that I was being given to review. So, but there was, yeah, definitely the odd one or two games that I got handed to me, and I actually enjoyed ripping them a new one when I got a really bad one. I wanted to make sure that no one else made the same mistake of having to play that game, never mind pay money for it.
So what's ripping a game a new one? Would you say giving it 70%?
4 out of 10.
4 out of 10.
That's probably as low as I ever went.
Okay.
There was one review though, and this is very controversial. So before I go into that, I wrote for a magazine called Megazone, and that was a big thing here in Australia at the time, and it was owned by the distributors of Sega in Australia. So they had a bit of a control over what got published, but for the most part they were pretty much hands off, except on one occasion. I was reviewing a game called I was reviewing a game called Bart versus the Spacemen. That's right.
Oh.
Yeah. And they were banking on that being a big hit because it's The Simpsons, and I just couldn't handle that game. I know there's probably one or two of you out there that are like, don't you rip into that game? But it's...
I don't think there will be. It was horrible. Like,
yeah, it was pretty bad. I didn't like it.
There's no way of liking that game. I had the bloody NES version, and I bloody...
Because that was being released, and while that was out, you had... The Simpsons, the arcade machine, and how awesome was that thing to play?
That's great. I loved the main game.
And yes, I know it was an arcade machine game where you only play it for about 5 minutes and you're done, but they could have extended it out. They could have done a ton of things with that game. Instead, we got Space Mutants. Yeah.
I've fond memories of playing that arcade game in Margate. I doubt you're familiar with being the other side of the planet. But some of our commenters will, I should imagine.
Leave a comment below.
Yeah, if you know Margate, leave a comment.
But I reviewed it and gave it an absolute terrible score.
As deserved.
And when the magazine finally got printed out, that was, by the way, my favourite part of working, when the magazine finally got printed and we open up the box and get the new magazine. It's kind of like when a YouTube video gets posted. But I looked at that review because I was really interested to see how they managed to print. I wanted to see 4 out of 10, and it got bumped up to 7 out of 10.
Oh, look at that! That tells you all, doesn't it?
And they changed some of the text. So I rip into the editor's room, and I just said, look, if you're going to change any of my reviews, don't put my name under there for God's sakes. I don't want to be associated with giving Simpsons.
So basically, the media was like them, the same as they are now. They just love to carry on ramming fake news down people's throats.
Well, that was the only time it ever happened. I'll be honest. But
was that the only time you gave a game a bad score?
No. There was other games that I gave bad reviews on, but that was the only time where it was blatant. Someone had changed and messed with the review. Yeah. But so I worked at Megazone, and the reason why I'm trying to show you guys at home these magazines is that to prove that there was life beyond CVG, EGM, Mean Machines, and I'm sure you could.
Mean Machines is the one I can remember well.
Yeah, it was personally it was my favourite UK magazine at the time. But we were trying to do our own thing in Australia, so we had Megazone. Also, while working at Sega, we had Sega Zone, which was, I guess, the equivalent of Nintendo Power, but it was just nowhere near as good, I'll be honest. But I got featured in it, so I don't care.
Yeah.
And Megazone evolved. It became a much bigger... It went from being bi-monthly to monthly,
Okay.
bigger issues. So it was really doing quite well. And then I left Sega and was working in the Gamesman. And then another magazine came out, because one thing about Megazone was that everyone knew it was owned by Sega and they knew it was kind of biased. So Hyper Magazine came along. This is issue 1, and I've got some articles in this one in particular. And I don't know if you can see that.
Why does it say bloody virtual sex on the front? Is that a game?
Okay, so I know the true story behind that. They wanted something to make this stand out from the other magazines that were on the news rack at the time.
Clickbait.
You got it. Yeah. So this was essentially clickbait before clickbait was even a term.
Most of my videos.
Okay. He's admitted it, guys.
I'm not hiding from that.
So this came out, and Megazone then changed to being Sega Megazone, and they actually asked me to come back and work for them, which I said no, and then it phased out, which was a good choice in the end. So that's pretty much the magazines that I worked for. I've got a ton of stuff that I ended up having articles printed in. I'm really glad that we had our own little thing in Australia and we weren't just being puppets to the rest of the world.
That's great. It's great.
Yeah, but you know, we did still buy into the whole EGM. I would buy EGM magazines at $20 a pop. That's Australian dollars, and I'd be getting them shipped in from overseas. Back in the day when we would get two-month-old magazines. So you guys complaining about news on the internet, we used to have to wait 2 months to read the magazines.
Yeah, you hear that, ladies and gentlemen? 2 months to read fake news back then.
So, yeah, and I ended up getting this job because I was writing my own magazine before I even started working in Sega. I had a big passion for working in a games magazine. That was my dream job, working in a games magazine. I got to live it for a short amount of time.
So whilst you're here for exclusives, have you got any gossip of stuff that went down whilst working for these magazines involving other people? I know which angle you're aiming for, but no, we didn't have any. There was, because we were doing our own thing. We didn't really have anyone else to poke fun at. Or okay, so it's quite isolated experience, really.
Pretty much, because down under there's nothing around. But there was, I think the only thing that I can really talk about was the one time that I wrote a story and it turned out to be false. I felt for an April Fool's gag. I was a huge Atari fan. I know you guys out there, there's quite a few of you out there that were also big into the Atari 2600 or
2600.
Yeah, okay. And there was an article going around saying that Atari are making a new console, which is not too much of a stretch from the truth. The Jaguar came out later after, which was a bit of a failure. Do you own a Jaguar?
I don't. That's one I've not got yet. I'd like to experience it. Yeah, no Jaguar yet.
I don't have one either. I will want to get one later. But yeah, so I wrote an article about a new machine coming out from Atari. It turned out to be bogus and fake, and so the next time, because I had my own column called Console Crazy.
Oh, nice.
And I had to apologise to my viewers, my readers, sorry. Yeah, that's a humble moment.
Yeah, at least you apologise for it. That's more than most newspapers would do these days.
I'd hate to work, though, for a gaming or magazine or website these days, because the amount of flack they get.
Like, have the Wall Street Journal apologised yet for those comments they made about PewDiePie?
Are they a gaming magazine? I don't even know why they're getting involved.
No, exactly. It's not even their field. Who are they to comment?
But I'm saying I wouldn't want to be, because we wrote the magazines, we got the articles printed. No, we never got really much in the way of feedback, because now as soon as you print it and you've uploaded it, you're getting a bunch of dislikes and comments. Oh, you suck! And
it's true. We have instant feedback now, so it's much easier to
feedback or trolling.
A bit of both, to be fair.
Bit of column A, bit of column B.
Some horrible little people out there, aren't there? But most of you are nice, so that's good.
My viewers are pretty good.
Yeah, mine are too, on the
Except
whole.
that one guy that dislikes all my videos.
Yeah, I upload videos and they have 3 dislikes straight away. So there's 3 people who don't like me, apparently. Just 3.
So yeah, that was my experience on working in the games industry. I just miss the whole I guess the experience of getting that new issue come out and looking for your articles, because that's what we did back then. Didn't care about anyone else's articles.
How is the games magazine scene in Australia today?
Well, Hyper Magazine, that's the issue 1 again, guys. There it is. That's still operating. It's still running today.
Awesome.
They had to make a change, so they're no longer trying to do exclusive news about which games are coming out, because the internet's got that killed. So they do more sort of pieces on politics behind the gaming scene, and women in gaming and the way they're represented, and that sort of thing. So I think they've moved away from just covering from a news point of view and more of a journalistic. So, you know.
So it's like going from a broadsheet newspaper to basically becoming an OK magazine.
Yeah, writing actual articles.
Yeah.
Rather than covering news. So, guys, if you can get your hands on that one, it is definitely worth tracking down. I don't know what they go for on eBay, but buy the Hyper magazines. I still buy them to this day. Definitely worth tracking down. The logo's changed a little bit. I kind of prefer the old logo. And guys, leave in the comments section down below, what was your favourite magazine, and do you still buy magazines today? Anyone? Anyone?
Right, yes. Yeah. And anyone read Retro Gamer magazine? That's what I tend to read at the moment.
It's damn expensive here, though.
Is it? Everything's bloody expensive here. This place is too isolated, isn't it?
It's like $20 an issue or something like that.
Oh, yes.
But it's a good magazine.
It is decent. I quite like it. I quite like it. Anyway, that was nice speaking to you again.
Thank you.
Yes, that was great. So anyway, cheerio!
Cheers, guys.